How to handle hands. Let's face it, it's hard to photograph people and not pay attention to hands. Hands will make or break your shot in a heartbeat. Generally, a woman's hands should appear graceful. You want to achieve a soft, elegant, and natural position of the hands so that they do not become a distraction. Angled wrists and claw-like fingers are things that we generally would not notice when we watch a pretty girl in person, but preserve them in a photograph and they suddenly become a distraction that will take away from your subject's natural beauty. Oftentimes, it's the little things, like having this model slightly raise her index finger. This is a classic element taken from ballet. Now, as you watch this new model go through a series of poses with no direction, it is easy to be drawn in by her beauty and her personality and not notice the tension and lack of confidence that she has with her hands. The confidence that she portrays in her facial expressions helps to distract you from the lack of confidence in her hand positions. Even for experienced models, this is a difficult task. Great hands require collaboration, and it is ultimately the photographer who is responsible. With some simple direction and guidance, she is able to assume a more natural posture with soft, elegant hands, and because she's not trying to come up with new things to do with her hands, she's able to put more effort into the personality and expressions with her eyes and mouth. Now, if we look at the still frames from her efforts, we see examples of hands that, while not ugly or claw-like, are still not flattering and detract from the photo. You may notice I've changed the face so that it is identical in every shot. That way you're not persuaded by one expression over another. You may want to replay this portion to better see what I'm referring to. In the last frame, we see the posed hands, which have softer lines, look more relaxed, and flatter her figure, all while allowing her the luxury of not having to worry about her hands so that she can communicate a great expression. Similarly, in this bikini pose, I asked my model to simply pose with her hands on her hips. The result is not bad, but if you look closely, the hands are distracting, in part because the fingers are pointing in multiple directions. Now, here are 3 simple variations of the hands on the hips, which are all flattering and do not distract from her beauty or figure. Now, if you're shooting a close-up portrait or a beauty shot, you need to pay even greater attention to the hands. Oftentimes, the best way to position the hands is to do it yourself. While this does break the don't touch the model rule, it's the social equivalent of a handshake, and it's rarely found offensive. Just be sure to tell your model what you're intending to do before you do it. Generally, you'll want to keep the pinky and ring fingers closest to the camera. This is the smaller and thinner side of the hand. I'm always sure to tell my subjects in advance that they must show up with well-groomed nails. Simple, clear coat, or French tipped is best. No colors or designs unless you want that to be the focus of the photo. The model in this set of photos is wearing glue-on fingernails that you can purchase at any drugstore for under $7 for 2 sets of nails. As long as they're applied properly, it is virtually impossible to tell them apart from real nails. Now, frequently when we see shots of models resting their heads on their hands, we will see natural things like in this photo. The model is really resting her head on the hand, and it is natural for her to show us the back of her hand, which gives it a masculine feel. As you can see here, turning the hand with the pinky closest to the camera improves the pose slightly. Opening the fingers and staggering the tips provide even more elegance and make the pose more interesting. And as you can see, there are many variations. You are really only limited by your creativity. Now go ahead and add in a talented makeup artist as a collaborator. Be sure to try many options, and you will find the sky is the limit. So remember, there are no rules. Learn to see what is in front of you and experiment. If you're new to the process, try working with dancers. They're taught how to make elegant hands. If your subject has no dance background, try telling her to make her hands elegant like a ballet dancer. 9 times out of 10, the girl will give you better hands just because she at least understands the concept. And last but not least, be careful when you talk to your model about her hands. If you create too much of an awareness of them without giving her specific directions, you'll find that the hands become stiff because she is suddenly very aware of them. I hope you find these tips helpful. Happy shooting.